to the Trey Sparks YouTube channel. As always, I am Sparks, and I'm sitting here with Trey.
Hi, everyone.
All right, this is episode 3 in our series, and before we dive into this episode, I want to do a quick recap of the first 2. So if you want to go back to our channel and check those out, and do a little catch-up before you watch this one. Episode 1 is delivery day for Trey's GT350R Heritage Edition. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. Went up to Fred Martin Ford and kind of documented that from beginning to end. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And then episode 2, we issued a very friendly challenge to the other GT350R YouTube owners to a track day next summer at Mid-Ohio. And I'm super excited about that.
Pumped for that one. I'm hoping that gets some traction. I'm hoping people want to see these YouTubers actually drive their cars. Very friendly challenge, or offer for a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, nothing contentious. But let's see these guys drive these cars.
All right, and today's episode is a little bit of a two-parter. Part 1 is Trey and I going to Mid-Ohio so that he can start learning the course and preparing for that race next summer. And then part 2, we talk with our buddy Nate, who has a GT350, who went to Mid-Ohio with us and ran into a few issues.
A couple problems that day.
Yep.
So let me try to maybe set this up for the viewers. So obviously I've challenged some other YouTube owners to a race at Mid-Ohio. I'm actively preparing for that. In this episode, you're going to see that I'm not driving my Shelby. I'm actually driving an E30 BMW 1991. It is a swapped car. It has an S50 engine out of a 99 M3, and it is supercharged. It is track prepared, and it's set up, and it is a phenomenal track car. It can keep up with the GT350s pretty well. So if you're wondering why I'm not driving my Shelby, that's why. I'm wanting to learn the course first with this car. And then the second part of this, obviously, in order to prepare, I kind of wanted to surround myself with the car. So I have 2 buddies that have GT350s. We got together and went up there to Mid-Ohio. One is Jeremy with his gorgeous black GT350, and the other is Nate with his red with black stripes. Nate is he's basically a race car driver. He's raced in many applications, and for me, he's a wealth of knowledge. And so in this episode, we'll let him describe his situation. I do want to say one last thing, though. We do have a couple cool episodes coming up. Sparks has gotten the track itch, and she is thinking about getting a car to track next year. One of the problems is she doesn't know how to drive a standard. So in a couple episodes coming up, she's going to get a car. I'm going to try to teach her how to drive a standard, and you're going to watch her go from, very, very beginner to an experienced track driver on this channel. All right.
And I'm hoping we'll both survive that.
Yeah, I am too. So without further ado, here's Nate.
2017 GT350. The way I break things in is I like to get on the highway on-ramp, put it in a 3rd and 4th gear, and basically load the engine to seat the rings. So that's how I broke this engine in. It didn't really see above 8,000 probably until I had 500 or 600 miles on it. Recently was at Mid-Ohio for the first track day.
Come on, buddy.
Lap 3, down the back straightaway, the engine just shook really hard and came out of the next corner and could hear it clattering away. So basically engine failure. Took it to the dealership. They diagnosed that the number 7 cylinder had failed. They could see that the piston was in there still, but it wasn't moving anymore. So they were instructed by Ford to tear the engine down. So they tore the engine down and discovered that the number 7 connecting rod had failed, and the one next to it was ready to fail. So Ford warrantied it, They sent a brand new engine, so this is the latest and greatest with, I guess, any improvements that they've done to these engines. So this one has been broken in by the same method. Last week I took it up the highway and just basically loaded it, not super hard, just enough to build some good cylinder pressure, get the rings seated, and we're going to break it in on the racetrack the rest of the way. So that's the plan.
So how long did it take for you to get it back?
It took a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 1 month from the day it got towed to the dealership to basically the day I picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they covered all costs, everything
They
with
covered
warranty?
everything, not $1 out of my pocket. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. So
How do you think it's going to do today?
I'm hoping that it will do fine. I'm hoping that it will survive the day. My only concern is that I did not see on the work order that they replaced the oil cooler. And in my experience, if an engine fails and they do not replace the oil cooler, sometimes there can be little bits of tiny pieces of metal in that oil cooler that are still there, and they could get sent back through the brand new engine. So hopefully that's not what's happened here. But if it makes it through the day, I'll be happy.
Sparks, I've told you, I don't want any pandering for likes and subscribes. Absolutely not.
Trey, how many times do I have to tell you? I do what I want.